Most people don't know that. Before Apple co-founder Steve Jobs died, he told Walter Isaacson he had regrets about not starting chemo sooner. What held him back is he had a fear of surgery. Getting cut open felt worse than losing $1 billion. What's more bizarre is Steve had the type of cancer that's easily curable. The bottom line is Steve's fear of needles and surgical knives cost him his life when he could easily have overcome them. He'd beaten much bigger fears before. This is what happens when you mismanage fear. It creeps up on you and can even cause death. But the moment you stop living in fear is the moment you come alive. It's one of the best feelings in the world. If you're living in fear, your anxieties have escalated to the point that they're running the show. You're thinking about your worries constantly without much mindfulness as to what's behind them. To stop living in fear, you must pinpoint what's causing your distress. Get out a piece of paper and brainstorm a list. When you're finished, circle the items that are tangible concerns. Fears that your house will burn down, your kids will go missing, or you'll lose your job tomorrow. Start giving yourself a sense of control by writing a few actions you can take to prevent these things from happening. Also recognize the intangible concerns, fears of the apocalypse, alien invasion from Mars, or worldwide economic collapse. You'll see that these have very little chance of happening, but you'll also see that these fears often have deeper roots. If your fears fall into this category, you'll need to do some self-reflection to discover how to stop living in fear. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, as Tony Robbins says. Truly understanding and accepting this concept is the first step to fulfillment. When you put an end to the blame game and start becoming the master of your own destiny, endless possibilities open up to you. And when you see the world as a place of opportunity, not obstacles, you don't let fear control you. The reason for determining the source of your anxiety isn't to give you an excuse to keep living in fear. It's to help you assert power over those fears so that they no longer control you. Once you identify the source, you can change your story and change your mindset. The first step is recognizing that you have a choice. You can blame outside forces for your emotions and continue to feel out of control. Or you can take charge of your life and learn how to stop living in fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear that we're just not enough. Fear is a common current that runs through all of our lives. And if we let it, fear can keep us locked up in the prison of the comfortable and predictable, which prevents us from reaching our true potential. Living in fear causes a double conundrum where you're unfulfilled with the status quo yet afraid to pursue anything better. With chronic fear, you're not experiencing anxiety, you're living in it. The fear response becomes a maladaptive lifestyle, influencing everything you think, feel, and do. Fear keeps you stuck in a self-perpetuating cycle of defeat and frustration. The upside to fear is that the emotions surrounding it are usually so unpleasant that they drive you to find another way. Don't let fear control you. There are many strategies for how to stop living in fear, from self-care to exercise to seeking professional help. When you commit to facing your fears, you're able to discover strategies to overcome them and find peace. In your mind, if you have no choice but to succeed, if achieving your goal is an absolute must, then nothing else matters. Sacrifices won't even be a question. Excuses go out the window. You'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. Period. Even the most successful people feel like they're living in fear sometimes. The difference is that rather than allowing fear to creep in and suck the life right out of their dreams, they know that the price they will pay if they don't give their goals and visions every ounce of energy and focus they have is far scarier. They know the real fear is living a life where they have settled or compromised what they really wanted. How do you adopt that mindset and perspective? Imagine yourself at 80 years old, nearing the end of your life. You are sitting in your rocking chair, reflecting on how you lived your life. Now, look back on your life as if you had not achieved the goal you were after at this moment. How has this affected the course of your life? What are your regrets? What do you wish you had made more time for? What do you wish you had attempted? Is there sadness and regret? Are you wondering, what if? In this way, you can use fear to propel you toward your ultimate goal. People often give up on what they want because they believe that reaching their goal is beyond their abilities. They continue living in fear and settle into their lives, thinking that their goal is unattainable so they don't even bother. But the most successful people foster a growth mindset. They don't think of their abilities as fixed, but rather as flexible. And when faced with a setback, they work harder. They adopt a new strategy. They keep seeking a solution. They don't give up when things become challenging. Instead, they find new ways to adapt and work harder to achieve their goals. There isn't one successful person in the world who hasn't had to overcome major obstacles. The most painful experiences can help refine what you want and what you don't want in life. Failure, disappointment, dead ends, these can all be used as a means of reflecting and saying, "This didn't work. It wasn't the right fit. So what do I really want?" Remember, we are built to adapt. So embrace your inner strength and use each experience as a tool to help you learn more about yourself and what you really must have in life. When you're facing a painful experience or feel ready to give in to fear, picture someone you admire who faced adversity. They wouldn't have achieved the success they now have without learning how to stop living in fear. Mastering your emotions and changing your mindset is psychological. But would you be surprised to learn that the psychological is also physical? Next time you feel like you're living in fear, change your posture and adopt a power pose. It can make you feel more confident and less fearful. Other self-care habits have an effect on your state as well. Physical activity is proven to reduce depression and anxiety. So next time you feel fear coming on, get out and go for a walk, practice yoga, or take a bike ride. Mindfulness meditation is also proven to combat anxiety and depression and even lower blood pressure. Eliminating caffeine and alcohol from your diet is another self-care tip that's essential to lowering anxious feelings. When you combine physical and psychological self-care, you have the recipe for how to stop living in fear. Fear cannot coexist with positive emotions. You cannot feel both scared and joyful or afraid and peaceful. You can't feel fear and gratitude at the same time, either, but you can replace one with the other. When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. You shift your focus from the negative to the positive. Where focus goes, energy flows, so when you change your mindset in this way, you find that you naturally bring more positivity and less fear into your life. Adopting an abundance mindset is key to unlocking how to stop living in fear. You can do this by keeping a gratitude journal, practicing priming or meditation, using visualization, coming up with empowering incantations, and more. Next time you're anxious or afraid, you'll have a powerful toolbox that you can access to overcome those emotions. When we're living in fear, we're often also living in either the past or the future. We let our past mistakes haunt us and affect our future decisions. We live in so much fear of what could happen that we forget to enjoy what is happening. As Tony tells us, the past does not equal the future unless you live there. In today's superconnected world, it's easier than ever to live in the past, reconnecting with toxic people and reminiscing about old relationships. When surfing the internet, it's easy to get caught in fantasizing about your next relationship or vacation plans that will never manifest. Stop missing your life. Put your phone down. Step away from the computer. Take up a new sport or game. Meet people in the here and now. Start living instead of worrying. After all this work, you still need to accept one truth. You'll fail. It's just part of the process. Any successful person will tell you that. Failure provides insights and inherently corrects the faulty ways of approaching a problem. There is no teacher as impactful as the sting of failure and no lesson in resilience better than the burn of rejection. If you use these experiences as unique information and adjust your strategy and approach the next time around, you will have an advantage that no one else does. With the right mindset, you can change your story and say goodbye to living in fear. If you're ready to learn how to stop living in fear, you have to decide that your dreams are more important than your fear of failure. Make the decision today to master your fears and start existing as the most joyful, successful version of yourself possible. Thanks for your patience. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.